Tinfoil hat.
Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I am. You know I am. You know I am. You know I'm here to do? I'm here to
Rock.
That's right, dude. We are here dropping Hammer of the Gods. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the number. What number are we? We're a top 50 podcast.
40.
Yeah, we were at 48
Why
at one
don't we
point.
just lie like everyone else and say we're the number one?
No, dude, I don't like that. I just can't believe we're still 48. So I'm getting hit up on Twitter all the time. I guess like Spotify or whatever you're listening to has your top podcast, and we're the top on a lot of them.
You're lucky you got deleted off of Instagram, because right now, I mean, no offense to everybody, but we're all getting tagged on like we're the number one. We've listened to like 10,000 minutes.
I
of
love
Tinfoil,
those.
so
Xavier Guerrero.
No, I'm just saying you just
love
missed
them.
them. You just got deleted from Instagram. You're missing all the love.
I
Man,
got.
you said he was lucky. You tried to turn back onto the
you
road
should
there.
run for politics, bro,
That was such
because
a
you
good-
can flip flop at a drop of the hat. A couple things I want to talk about. Yes, I have in fact been deleted yet again from Instagram. I don't know what it was. My friend Tino think it's because the stories, people would tag me in stories. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, and I would share them. But usually you get a warning that, hey, if you do this again, you're going to get deleted. I didn't. They just nailed me, and it's gone.
Like terminated.
Yeah, just terminated.
Did you get like a pop-up, like a notification, like, hey, you've been banned, or email?
Well,
or...
no, what's very interesting is I got one, like, when I went to it, something happened, and it was like 30-day disabled, then that disappeared. So I think they dung me, and then they go, oh, you're doing more, ding you again. They, like, didn't even give me a chance.
Interesting.
So I'm gone. I will start. I do have Fat Dragon Pro and Tinfoil Hat Pod.
Yeah, Tinfoil Hat Pod.
Tinfoil Hat Pod. All the rest are gone.
Okay, but those aren't yours. Are you making a one that's going to be Sam Tripoli?
Fat Dragon Pro is in fact mine. I just allowed the person I put in charge, Robin, who runs my social media. That's where you're going to get all the stuff from me, my shows that are out, all that stuff. I just don't.
What about the meme lovers? What about the people that love Sam Tripoli
Telegram?
memes?
That's what Telegram's for, bro. That's what Telegram's for. You got to get on Telegram. It's Tinfoil Hats, only conspiracies, and I just drop dank memes on there left and right. I will start a shady Instagram account just to stare at ass. I'm making no illusions of that. That's what it's going to be about. And I'm just like, it's done.
I like how you said you're going to.
Well, okay. Yes, I already have
Yeah,
one.
okay.
And no, I won't tell you what it is because I'm a weirdo. But I am, so it's gone. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's gone. 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 And it sucks. Because
a lot of work was put into that.
Well, it's like what, 70,000 on that one, almost 80,000 on the one before that, and it's just like, it's just like I just like the Titanic sinking. You want to kind of fucking push back, and they're just eliminating it. And it's so funny because there's so many Instagram accounts that do what I get dinged for. And I'm like, why am I getting dinged? And I think it's honestly because I don't play to the right or left. I think if you go really hard, okay, make fun of Jews, you're gone. I don't do that, right? You're gone. If you're kind of like in the middle, I think that's where you get kind of effed. I think if you're like really hard right or really hard left, they love that because that adds to the divide and conquer. Yeah. That gets everybody fighting with each other.
You're still better off left than right. Oh, you're always. You can never be
100%.
wrong on the left.
Like I mean, dude, Xavier was talking about my twerking and politics videos. I literally was ripping twerking videos off of Instagram and putting political messages over them, and they ding me for like sexual content.
Do you think if a female woman voice did it, you think it'd be better? Do you think
Probably.
you think it's a guy talking on top of a girl
Probably.
twerking? That's not.
Dude, there are whole channels, whole Instagram pages of women just pulling their pants up high as they can to rock the camel toe.
Dude, there was a meme that, or like a TikTok sort of thing that also got into Instagram stories that was women spitting out the teeth whitening shit.
Oh, like it's like...
Yeah, like it's just...
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a whole thing that went around. It just chicks doing that. And then there was another guy, I sent you this the other day, this YouTube. Like, we keep getting banned from YouTube. This guy went around with a dildo that was very anatomically correct, looked like a dick. I can confirm I have one. And he went around just asking chicks on the street in Austin, hey, you want jizz on your face? And then just squirting jizz all over their faces. And that's a YouTube channel now of just this guy just jizzing on chicks. And he has no problems, apparently.
Dude,
they love it.
There's naked yoga on YouTube.
It is
literally naked.
Yeah. That is my
More than
only
anybody wants to
problem
see.
with it. If you make a rule, have a rule. And if I violate that rule, get rid of me. I get it. But you're not doing that. You're making rules selected to each person. Please don't bring me that private company bullshit. It's not. It's completely and utterly funded by intelligence and the U.S. government. Okay? It's
It's like the internet. Eventually it becomes a public square. Eventually it becomes the public commons.
And the
which
reason
is
I'm
regulated
upset is it's just like it's really making so even now Robin, my social media person, can't post paid ads on Facebook. They won't let her post it. They won't let her post my.
I was telling Sam how they're not picking on what you post now. They're picking on a person. Jocko Williams, what's it? The
Jocko
guy?
Willink,
Yeah, what does he post about sweating every day and working out? And he's shadow banned. I think because since he's conservative, and if you follow him, then that means you listen to his podcast. So guess how we're not going to make you listen to his podcast if you don't see that he's working out and he's calling you a bitch. You won't listen to his podcast, so now you can't figure out
need
that he's
an
conservative. Yep.
Tommy G literally talked about how he thought Parler was controlled opposition because the minute you went on Twitter and announced that you were on Parler, you would be banned. So it's like, okay, so you got Jocko who, like, I know he goes into the realms of like what's going on in pop culture and stuff like that, but he seems to be like workout, believe in yourself, all that. I don't watch him, but from the little parts have been shared, that's what I notice he does, right?
Yeah.
So if you ban him and you force him to go over here, you bring a whole bunch of crowd over there. So now this builds up over here, and they're siloing us into each one of us into a silo. So now we're only talking to people who agree with us, which is the whole thing they want. So it's like I just want to promote. That's it. I mean, I was getting on Instagram so much I had to put a thing. I had to make a goal for my day is only post 5 times on there.
You got to move to China. They're not letting the kids go on there. You need like a parent, just something like that.
It's unbelievable, right? It's like you got these people who want socialism and communism, but they don't actually want to do anything that those countries are doing. Like, how many of our quote leftist friends are like mocking like vaccine passport mandates, right? They're like mocking people who don't want that, right? But yeah, they're all socialists. They all say they're socialists. But the countries that are socialists in Europe are doing one or two things. They're either completely abandoning any COVID restrictions, or they're having giant marches against it. All of Europe, Australia, they're all marching against this shit. So it's like you don't really want socialism. You just want to bitch about. And there's people like Jimmy Dore who are pushing against it, right? And he considers himself a socialist. Love him to pieces. At least he's pushing back on it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's how many heroes are like, dude, did you see that Kramer guy on CNBC's like, maybe we should get the military now?
Yeah, Jim Cramer. Yeah.
Can you believe that? All are being
He's an
exposed
idiot.
for who they are. If you'd like to see me live, I am going to be in San Diego this weekend. Chris Neff, Howie Dewey will be at the American Comedy Company. You can grab your tickets at American Comedy Co. or samtripoli.com. The following week, I am in filthy Tampa. I am so excited about filthy Tampa.
You're always going to Florida.
Filthy.
I love Tampa, bro. It is on my list of cities I will move to if I could, but my baby's mama won't. New city on the possible move list.
Go on.
Dallas.
Not
No,
bad.
yeah,
Maybe
maybe.
do Austin if you're going to do
Better than
Dallas. That's
Nashville.
what I don't get.
Really?
And Nashville's
Yeah.
cold.
You
Johnny's
think better
right.
than Nashville?
Nashville?
Yeah. You think Dallas is better than Nashville?
Nashville, Tennessee. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Dude,
I think Austin though is
but
better
Austin
than
is
Dallas.
just LA and Texas.
Yeah, but the thing you're not thinking about Austin, you can go 5 miles outside of Austin, and it'll still take you 5 minutes to get to everything in Austin, and you're alone, dude. You got your own. You can have your own empire. Just drive out of just a little bit out of the city. There's land.
Would you live in Austin?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Would you live in Austin?
Of course.
I think
Interesting.
Asheville's a good choice though too.
What?
I liked Asheville when you brought that up.
I that might be too far out. I don't know, man.
Yeah, you got Charlotte right there. You could do Charlotte too, dude. Check
But
out
like,
Charlotte.
I need to go. The reason I like Dallas is a couple reasons. One, it's like Dallas and Houston have very much LA energy. Like when you're in the city, I need that energy. Two, it's like guns, and three, futuristic black chicks. Like that is on the board for important reasons. But
That was a very important reason.
No,
Especially
okay.
the last one.
yes. I mean, dude, my new fetish, I talked about it on Conspiracy Social Club. I'm really turned on by hot racist black chicks.
Racist against white people?
Yeah. That's
Whoa.
just I think that's super hot.
You like forbidden apples, huh?
I just like or fruit or apples.
fruit.
Well, if I'm in the forbidden bananas or something like that. Guys, so
He
all
likes
that's
brown
there.
bananas.
Please go check it out. See me live in Tampa. I got some good friends coming to me. It's one night only. Hammer of the Gods. Come join me. Okay. What else we got? Man, I got a bunch of... Dude, Rockfin is on fire. Rockfin is killing it right now. I got some big names about to join the comedy division. Woo-hoo. Some good stuff. We got Walsh just joined. He's got some great animation on there. And we have, I'm in the talks with a couple other people. Super duper excited about that. All my premium content's there. All of it. $10, everything you want. All my free content's there, and all my premium content's there. Go check it out. Tin Foil Hat, Zero, Conspiracy Social Club, Broken Sim. What else is there?
We don't smoke the same.
We don't smoke the same. Just right there are 5 shows. $10 a month. You're getting 6 episodes just from me. Sometimes 7, depending on the show. Just for me. So it's a great way to support the show, great way to help out. And here's the thing, you get everybody's content on the show. All right, if you want more free stuff from me, not only is Tinfoil Hat free and will always be free, but we also have Broken Sim is for free. Punch Drunk for free. Cash Daddies is for free. Zero, my new show Zero is on fire. It got in the top 200 on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, spiritual podcast category. So it's top. It was
Go
top.
leave a review over there. There's only 85 reviews on Zero.
Go give
Come
me
on,
a
guys.
review on everything.
Yeah.
Tinfoil Hat, Conspiracy Social Club. But if you want to go for the free stuff, just go to samtripoli.com, click the banner of your favorite show, and you go listen to free stuff. And guess what else Sam Tripoli has? A 24-hour radio show of all of my shows. You can listen to all my shows for free. Of all my free podcasts, there, just 24 hours. Sam Tripoli, I'm in your head. Guess what? Go to samtripoli.com, click tinfoilhattshirts.com, and you can support the show. We got new stuff coming all the time. You guys are sending me great artwork. Some of them I can't use. I have to get back to you. I'm going to email you guys a thank you. I've just been inundated with emails. I promise you, I'm going to get you an email. Oh, yeah. I forgot to announce it. Dude, we are going to be in Long Beach at Harvell's. 2 shows. Eddie Bravo, myself, Xavier Guerrero. We'll see if Johnny's got the balls to show up.
I put him on the flyer. I didn't even ask. Put him on the
See if
flyer.
you got
Sorry,
the
Johnny.
balls, Johnny,
Let's do
to
it.
show up and rock in Long Beach. 2 shows. So here's what I did, man, because I'm still trying to figure out Eventbrite. So the first show is you got your tickets, and then the second show I lowered the price because I know people are like, if I buy both, can I get a discount? I gave you the discount anyways. It's there. I knocked money off it all. So if you 2 shows, first show stand up, second show is Q&A where you get to come on stage and ask any of us any questions you want. I might have my friend. Who knows who might show up in Long Beach? We'll rotate some people in, rotate some people out, and have a good time. But it is live LBC. We're coming to drop some hammer on you and working on other shows. My 2022 tour is going to be called Hammer of the Gods, and it is coming together now. So let's rock. Anything else?
If you want a poster signed by me and Sam Tripoli and Off the Grid and Johnny Woodard, go get yourself a We Don't Smoke the Same t-shirt at Flavors by E-Zone, and that will come with the poster signed by Eddie Bravo. So if you're a 10th Planet fan or you missed the 500 show, go get a t-shirt and it will come with the poster. There's a limited edition, so it's like 10 posters left, so be the first 10 people.
Nice, buddy. Nice. Anything else?
That's it.
Anything else?
Check out Broken Sam on YouTube, and we'll be doing another one this week.
Yeah, I mean, we got another one this week, maybe at some point. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But yeah, man, thank you guys so much for the support. It's been a great year, and it's only getting better. And I love you all very much. This is a great episode. We talk a lot about physical fitness, the lies that you're told, and man, I'm very excited to have Justin Andrews on, and it's a great conversation. I hope you enjoy it and have a great weekend. Hope to see you in San Diego. Hope to see you.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of...
Hey guys, I want to tell you about our friends at Four Sigmatic, a company known for their innovative use of functional ingredients to enhance your performance. Okay. Lately, I've been having Four Sigmatic Performance Coffee in the morning. It is infused with lion mane for focus and cordyceps for performance. And this stuff is legit. Okay. I'm more productive, focused, and more energetic. And I feel like I'm on top of my game. I bring the hammer of the gods because of this coffee. Okay. You can also use this as a pre-workout, okay? Before you're going to go to gym, before you're going to get on a hike, before you're going to drop the hammer of the gods on your lady, okay? You need endurance to hit harder, pound harder, make her love you more. Guess what? It's real simple. Four Sigmatic Performance Coffee. No jittery feeling, easier on the gut, just pure focus, okay? So you're probably wondering, does it taste like mushrooms? Nope. The flavor is rich and smooth, and it's the perfect cup of coffee with additional benefits, okay? They've got over 30,000 5-star reviews. That's a lot of 5-star reviews, and best of all, Four Sigmatic backs their product with a 100% money-back guarantee. Love it or it's free. So this is what we're going to do. Listen, guys, I've worked on exclusive offer with Four Sigmatic for you, the Swarm, okay? This is it. For the Swarm listeners, save 20% on your first order on Four Sigmatic website. To claim this deal, just go to foursigmatic.com/tinfoil and use the coupon code tinfoil at checkout. Again, this code is only for the Tinfoil Hat listeners, aka the Swarm. So please don't share with anyone. You'll save 20% off whatever you want. So go right now to foursigmatic.com/tinfoil and use the code tinfoil to supercharge your performance. All right, guys, let's get into it. This next guest is a gentleman. Well, today, who knows at this point, right? It could be one of many different things. But he's a podcaster. He deals in health and fitness, and I thought it'd be a really great topic to talk about because, we could talk about all the stuff that the power bottom lizard people are doing, and we could do that forever. And that's great. But it's like, how do we deal with life in the moment of right now? And like, how do you not worry about what the Vatican is doing or what's, God, prayers, thoughts and prayers out to Yemen and what's going on over there, because that's what we're told's going on over there. I've never been there. I'm not saying it's not happening, but I've never been there. But I could get lost in what's going on over there and not being in the moment and working out. So that's what we're going to do. I'm very excited to have this next gentleman on. Again, he's a podcaster. He's in the fitness, and we're going to break down some of the what you're told and what you should actually do. Please welcome Justin Andrews. How are you, brother?
Hey, man. I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on. This is exciting. I have no idea where this is going to go.
Well, dude, those are the best podcasts. Like sometimes when you there's a saying in recovery, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, and that's kind of where I am on that right now. It's like, I love the structured shows because sometimes you're like going into these very like intricate details of a very deep like conspiracy. But then sometimes it's like, hey man, we're just going to talk and have a good time. And I kind of like those as well. So it's like, it's good to do mix and match. You can get super serious, or you can have like a real important conversation about things that people can actually change in their life, which is what they're eating and how they're working out and all that stuff. And that, like, if people are overwhelmed right now in so many different ways, like, how can we help them figure out how to change their course of their life? So before we get into all that fun stuff, why don't you tell us a little, for those who might not be familiar with you, which would be Johnny and XG, tell us a little bit about yourself and your podcast and anything else.
Yeah. So my name's Justin. I'm on this podcast called Mind Pump, and we started about 6 years ago. We're 3 personal trainers by trade. So we have no experience in terms of any kind of entertainment, any kind of radio, like nothing like that. So it's purely random that this all happened.
You have a great voice though, bro. I gotta be honest with you. You have a great voice. I could see you on like Howard Stern's channel, like dropping bombs.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right. I'll take that as a compliment.
It's a total compliment, bro.
Yeah.
Some people don't have, like Shaquille O'Neal does not have a good voice for podcast. He keeps trying.
He's got a great body, though.
Does he have a great body? He's like a big dude, bro. I mean, like,
you want to hug him. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to hug. You want to hug.
He has a good voice for checking out people at groceries. I mean, that's like, okay, what's next?
Would you like paper or plastic? Yeah. I mean,
it's funny.
Thank you for shopping at Whole Foods.
I like to bring up topics a lot on this show. And I think, and I have no idea how you got connected to me, and I'm really stoked that you did, because I was like, oh, this is gonna be super fun, because we do talk a little bit about conspiracies in the very beginning intro portion of the show. And it's been really hard for me to transition from like a bicep curl into lizard overlords. But I try my best.
Just gotta believe in yourself, brother, and it could happen, man. It's all about positive energy and like law of attraction. But no, I understand what you're doing. And some conspiracies are very easy to talk about, and some are hiding in plain sight, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like there are things in the. I'm sure if we get like several different trainers in here, everybody has their own personal belief on how you should work out, how you should eat, and all that stuff. But I think that most people will understand that based on just my 49 years on this planet and learning what I've learned, like the official narrative usually isn't the best idea.
Yes. This is the reason why we have our show, and it's all of our same experience, and we all have different backgrounds, which was a cool dynamic. I'm more of an athletic background, but we all in our
football?
time I played football.
What, running back?
Linebacker.
Linebacker's good. White running backs are fucking nasty, bro. My Krav Maga teacher is a white running back. My cousin, who's super shredded, white running back. Dude, they're always jacked and just like steel, bro.
Just horses. Yeah.
Right? They're just horses, bro.
They're usually from Nebraska, too. I found.
It's got a lot to compete with.
Yeah, they do. You're right. Dude. But to be like a starting white quarterback, I mean, a white running back,
tough motherfucker,
is fucking athletic.
It's the reason Leonard Fournette went before Christian McCaffrey in the draft. You know what I mean? Because Let's be
Bro,
honest.
no,
People,
there is.
they're not getting the benefit of the doubt. Let's be
There
honest. Yeah.
completely is. It's like why you never see white guys get drafted as cornerbacks. They'll get drafted as a safety even if they never played it.
Right.
That's very rare. I've played on a couple teams. I've never seen a white corner.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But okay, so
I can't
here's
think of, Jason Sehorn is the last
that's
guy. I
it.
think of.
That's it.
Seahorn. Yep. There you go. That's
But
about
you know,
one.
Bobby Bowden said the most athletic guy he ever had on his team was a white guy. He talked about it.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, which is crazy because he had Randy Moss for like 2 seconds. But what I want to get into, there's a lot to get into, but going back to white athletes here, is it me or does it just seem like in certain sports you're seeing a return to where it was dominated by African Americans? There seems to be a resurgence of the white athlete, like in boxing, right? It's like there's some really great white boxers, and forever there was none. There was like Glass Joe
depends on if
and
you
Mike
count-
Tyson's Punch Out, and that's about it.
Depends on if you count boxers from former Soviet republics. So
What? That's another problem I have. Like, why aren't Russians white
Russians are
people?
coming in for sure. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying that Klitschko has dominated boxing, the heavyweight boxing, for 2 decades, pretty much. So
Right. But that was it.
You're so right. Like, why isn't the UFC champ, what's his name? The one with the long ass name. Why isn't he
Khabib?
considered white? Yeah, why isn't Khabib considered a white guy?
I don't know. I don't know why. Because everyone's like, why is he? He's not white.
He's too tough. He's tougher than
he's from
regular white people.
Dagestan. I'm like, that's still white. I mean,
that's white plus. That's like
See,
special
I
white.
like how he's thinking. He's white plus.
Special white.
Like they can stand the cold.
special white.
They can drink vodka and stand the cold.
That'd be so great if like they were listing like if you're going to D1 school, his position is, if they have athlete,
yeah,
it's just like special white.
Mark that one on my next
So,
phone.
but that gets into kind of a psychology that goes in with being an athlete, right? And the psychology of that, let's face it, the black athlete is always superior, right? And now it's kind of changing, which I think comes from the real thing is obviously there's genetics and stuff like that, but how much of it is just plain hunger, right? Like you see these Russians, these Eastern Europeans.
Well, Fury.
They're coming from, like, let's face it, poorer areas, and they're hungry, so they're gonna maybe push a little harder that a kid from the suburb wouldn't do.
Well,
Because
it's the reason American boxing has sucked for so long, especially at the heavyweight levels, because we're a spoiled country at this point, and you're getting guys coming from those former Soviet republics where they had to scrounge, for every penny. And they're
In a
hungry.
combat sport like that, you're going to see like other countries that actually have real struggle. They're going to do a bit better. It seems.
I mean, Mexicans, they're always up there for
Exactly,
some
yeah.
reason, and it's because I'm guessing they're struggling.
They're
trying
in
to-
boxing.
Yeah, in boxing.
but that's about it.
Oh yeah, soccer.
They're okay.
Yeah, basketball.
don't-
There's not
Basketball,
one single
soccer.
basketball player. There's not one basketball Mexican soccer player.
There was one, but he didn't. He's already gone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Because you're the only people getting shorter.
what was his name? That guy was okay.
I don't know if you know this, but Mexicans are the only people getting shorter. So hey, you're about 5 minutes into this podcast. Are you regretting it already?
I'm here for the entertainment. So
We just dove straight into like racial
do
issues.
your
That's
thing.
right.
Yeah, we kind of do the same thing. There's 3 hosts that we have, so it's just like this. I'm just constantly waiting for my time.
No,
I'm just
jump
gonna
in, dude. Anytime. We will totally. We're excited to hear what you have to say, guys. I want to tell you about our friends at Ladder. That's right, LadderLife.com. Okay, Ladder is 100% digital. No doctors, no needles, no paperwork when you apply for a $3 million in coverage or less. And let me tell you, Daddy's getting life insurance. Okay, I'm getting it. I'm gonna use Ladder. Okay, you just need a few minutes on a phone, laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out instantly if you're approved, okay? If you prefer to talk to a person, their team of licensed agents doesn't work on commission, so they'll help you and not upsell you, okay? No hidden fees, cancel at any time, get a full refund if you change your mind in 30 days, man. You don't get that anymore. This is good stuff right here. And Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're A+ rated by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So here's what we're going to do. All right, guys, I want you to do this. So go to ladderlife.com/ tinfoil today to see if you are instantly approved. That's ladderlif.com/tinfoil. Ladderlife.com/tinfoil. Get it and win. You come on a great time because I just did my health checkup. I did the test that every man dreads.
Ooh.
Right?
Two fingers? Just one finger?
I didn't ask him how many fingers. I didn't go, hey, how many was it? Could you get two in there? Was it just one and a struggle? I didn't ask him that. I bent over and I just was like, it was the worst feeling ever. It's just so.
What if you'd really liked it? What if
I think he was testing to see if I really liked it.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because I was like, I used to have a drug problem. I did speed. He's like, did you inject? I'm like, no, because I hate needles. Even though I have tattoos, I hate needles. Yeah. I hate them. He's like, are you sure you didn't inject? I'm like, no. Okay. And this is where it gets weird. This is Sam speaking, nobody else, by the way. In AA, crystal meth is known as the queer juice, okay? Because you're going to eventually shove something in your butt at some point, right? So when he heard I did speed, he's probably like, you were doing weird shit. I'm like, no, I really wasn't. So he wanted to see exactly if I got how weird I used to get.
Funny.
And he just,
my mom's doctor just got busted for fooling around with guys in the office. And she's devastated because she's like, he was so good. He was the
maybe
best
that's
doctor.
why he's good.
Wait up. Was he doing it like the guys knew or kind of to Sam, like where you stick one finger, two
Well,
fingers
the
to
rumor is that
kind of new or guys like Sam. What does that mean?
Or he was just kind of feeling you up as in like medical procedure, or he actually had gay guys going in there?
I think it was medical procedure. And the rumor is that it was a guy that was pissed off about him not prescribing opiates to him.
Oh.
And threw it on him. So
Which is all dope sick, bro. Which is all
it's amazing, dude.
So I got blood work done, and it all comes back clean.
Great.
Except for I have a little higher level of cholesterol. So that's it. So at my age, he goes, I'm pretty healthy. I have high level of cholesterol. So now it's time to start. He goes, you got to change your diet. And like, since I've gotten rid of drugs, alcohol, pretty much pornography, I really have no vices left. And like eating like shit was the last one. And so I'm going to have to give up that as well. And which sucks. So here we are. I have a whole thing that I'm going to send to you. It is my list of things I'm allowed to eat and things I'm not allowed to eat. And it was basically so let's get into this real quick. So you're into health and you watch health and you see what is being what you know works versus what you see being pushed. And is there a disconnect between that?
There's a massive disconnect. Yeah. And really it started off with the food pyramid, and it started out with all the recommendations growing up. Like literally everything that we were told in school is pretty much, it's the opposite. So this is where I started to be more skeptical of the health and fitness industry in general, because of the advice. And nutritionally, it's really bad. Like it's at a point where, like you're mentioning cholesterol and dietary cholesterol, as that's something that, doctors can find out that specific number, and that's something that they can give you a pill and it can lower your cholesterol. Whereas, that being a genetic factor, might be something to be concerned with, but if it's just dietary cholesterol, it's really nothing to be concerned about.
Because that food pyramid I brought up, that's the one that I saw in the 2000s, where bread was the main thing. You eat pasta every day, you're good to go type of thing. And that's where it all started.
Yes.
Right. So grains are the majority of the portion, which subsidized wise makes sense that they would highlight that, which is, if you're going to kind of attribute all these different factors of what's led to, the current state of obesity, there's a lot of these recommendations are just way off. There's only two essential macronutrients that you really need to focus on. The rest is just, on top to provide you with adequate energy for movement, working out, all that kind of stuff. Really, the biggest focus should be on proteins and fats. And those are your essential macronutrients at the end of the day.
What is a macronutrient, by the way? What is that?
Yeah, so it's your macronutrients. So your basic so meats and eggs and you have that for your protein macronutrients, and then you have you have your fats like your butters, your avocados, oils, and then you have your carbohydrates, which consist of usually grains or all the rest of like the starchy carbs and things that, find their way into your diet. So, basically it's the essential nutrients that you need to survive is your macronutrient base. You have to cover at least your proteins and your fats.
So a long time ago, one of the big psychological operations done on this country is the importance of a breakfast. Right, that we were told we got to load up early.
Most important meal of the day.
Important meal of the day.
Never forget that. Never forget that.
I mean, it is pounded into you. Most important meal of the day. Most important meal of the day. And I'm starting to find out, because you kind of think, and there's a logic behind it, right? In your head. You're like, my day's starting. I got to fuel myself up. I got to do that. And maybe I don't want to eat late night because I'm not going to be doing as much activities. But I'm heard out the streets, and the streets are talking, that maybe isn't exactly the truth.
No. Yeah. Well, you also get this thing where you can't possibly go without eating for 6, 8, 10 hours.
Hangry. You'll get hangry. Hangry.
Yeah.
You'll be uncomfortable.
Yeah, so there was a lot of that, and you find out later on like how much of that is advertising, and whether catalogs or whoever was trying to get you to start your day with these grains, and why that was the most important meal of the day. Really, like what we've done is gone away from the individual, and the individual isn't really as considered as much, and so there's so much nuance, especially to nutrition, that really, like, once we start generalizing everything, that's where I start to have a problem with that. And we have to, as trainers, we always like start with, it depends. So you want to take on, some advice with a grain of salt, in terms of like, I want to understand what they're eating currently, what their body receives well, what it doesn't receive well, and then kind of navigate through it, in accordance with that. So, because you could go both ways. You could eat breakfast in the morning. You could skip breakfast in the morning, and you could be just fine. At the end of the day, it amounts to the individual and how they operate best in that situation. But there's been a lot of diets too that come out, because what they want to do is, it's so much more effective to market you when you have like, here's the answer, here's the one way to do everything, and here's my plan for it, and also I have all these other like supplements and products that go alongside with that, and it becomes this modality, becomes this sort of diet that people subscribe to. They evangelize about it, and then it becomes this sort of tribal fight amongst other people dieting, which one is the right one. And so it really just always amounts to the individual and what their biodiversity requires.
So, I mean, we hear that, breakfast is great. Is there anything else as children that we get told, whether it's what we eat or our working out, our fitness, that you think that's kind of just a straight up lie, that isn't actually correct in what you've learned through your time? Like, are there things that we've learned, like, why do we climb a rope to the ceiling in all of our in PE class? Because that's never applied to anywhere else in my life.
See, I'd actually rather that we go back to that.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
And, putting screens in front of our faces and not moving. I feel like there's a massive disconnect in schools now in terms of extracurricular activities, and they're just eliminating all these options for kids to move. And that's something I'm super passionate about. But there's just lots of examples of things that were suggested as we were kids that I don't subscribe to anymore. And a lot of them are nutritionally, you saw fads come and go with like the low fat diet. You saw like different types of diets emerge, just based off of like, being able to, sugar was demonized. Like there's a lot of different like information out there that wants to, polarize everybody. And so it's kind of been like our job.
Is sugar bad?
Well, no, not necessarily. Well, okay. So in the context of being in a calorie surplus or a calorie deficit. So if you're below the amount in terms of maintenance calories, like it's not going to have that much of an effect on you. However, there are things to consider in terms of how that changes your behavior. So the way that you taste food and, the way that you seek out these types of sweets and novelty. There's studies out there that actually show that you're more likely to consume more calories. The more sweet things and the more sugar you have in your diet, you tend to kind of go off the rails and be more likely to be addicted to certain types of other not nutrient dense foods.
Which is kind of like with alcohol, right? Like, I mean, let's face it, alcohol's a big part of the mating ritual, and every chick drink is like super foo-foo. Like it's done purposefully to like hide the alcohol. So it's like, this is so much fun. And, now they're like fucking shit-faced. And it's like, I don't drink, man. The minute you stop drinking and you start living in this society, you really see how much consuming alcohol is part of our ritual of life. And I bet you, I bet you that is the exact same thing for sugar.
Yeah.
And how much
really a moderation thing. I mean, and you've heard this a million times, like everything in moderation. And, there's some truth to some of this old wisdom and old sayings, to the fact that like, if you are in a calorie deficit and you're pretty moderate about introducing sugar into your diet, you're probably going to be all right. I mean, it's a bit inflammatory. And so you got to make sure that, that's not too high. Although here's another misconception is that we have to eliminate all inflammation in your body, but that's a vital part of the process of actually stimulating your body to produce more muscle. Without inflammation, studies like where you would take NSAIDs and you would take, Advil and whatnot, and athletes would take that as after they work out right away, they wouldn't actually adapt and change and grow muscle at the rate as somebody that wouldn't introduce that.
That's interesting, man. Damn. And you're like, well, why was that introduced? Did somebody come up with that idea? And were they funded by Bayer or Tylenol or any of those things? I mean, to me, it's like, we just did an episode on cults and we were talking about how, this introduction of a new religion, like someone's like, hey, it's 2021. I figured it out. Yeah. Like nobody else has figured this out since mankind's been around. I, today, Trevor, in the year 2021, have figured out how to, how the world works and where we came from, what God is and all that. I'm like really skeptical of that.
You know who that sounds
and
like?
I'm skeptical of anyone named Trevor, by the way. And the second thing is, you should be. Right? And the second thing is like someone who invents a brand new way to work out, right? You're like, the human body is pretty much the human body. And we could debate whether we've gotten like bigger, smaller. I know we've all gotten fatter, but like how much has the human body changed? I think we're getting bigger, like in terms of taller. You remember when 6 foot was tall?
Yep.
Like chicks are 6 foot now. Like I go to comedy. I went to this comedy fest called Skank Fest. Like every New York City comic is 6'4". I
remember you telling me they were like Aries, is what you said. Yeah.
I used to be tall. Now it's like girls are like 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot. You see it more and more. So I think And I think that's to do with the food that we're consuming.
And I think the scams are also more sophisticated now, because it used to be you could just throw any old bullshit workout device on TV and people would buy it. You know, remember like
Stacker X?
Size, yeah, all that shit. Like one thing was just like a brick that you step up and down on, and they sold that as like the Stepmeister. Or
no, what was that crotch thing that Susan Sarandon?
That was the Abersize.
And
or
we were
Jazzercise,
just, she
or
had
whatever.
such a big rack, and she was so hot, and we're just like, yeah, I'll buy
or like
that.
shit that electrocutes your abs, you know, or you know what I mean?
The STEM machines, yeah.
Yeah. And but now I think the people who would have been doing that are now much more sophisticated. You know, they're pitching these diets like you're talking about.
Yeah, but
There's so many phony things out there. Like you're talking about all these infomercials and products and junk and garbage. Like it really, if we can get back to what actually works, like, I mean, we always call it the biggest rocks or, you know, your sort of meat and potatoes. We always stray away from certain things like barbells have just worked over time. And, you know, old methods like dumbbells and kettlebells, even if you go even further back and just lifting rocks. I mean, we've gotten so crazy in terms of like how to intertwine entertainment and experience with working out, and everything has to be quick, easy. It has to be almost like it's you're serving it in a pill form. You have to be able to transform and change within, I mean, maximum 30 days. Otherwise, like it's irrelevant to anybody, which to that point, you're not really establishing anything long-term. There's no longevity in that. Like it's unsustainable. So we're just always trying to walk people off a cliff because everybody falls susceptible to that. Because at the end of the day, most people, the majority of people want to just look good, and they're in there. I mean, they kind of care about health markers and things that the doctors say, but unless you're dying, people don't really make massive changes. And so we try to just at least calm them down and be like, okay, here's like the few things that you just need to focus on and get good at. And you're going to have, you know, massive results from just focusing on those couple things.
I do. I feel like people get too lost in how far they have to go. And it really, you know, it's like when you know, he showed me this show on TV, which is called what? Like 1,000-pound sisters.
Oh, 1,000. Yeah,
like one's 200 pounds, the other one is all the other way.
Yeah, dude, I saw that.
You know, and I don't even know why people watch this. It makes me feel like
no, we were figuring it out. We were figuring out that females watch this to make themselves feel better. I'm 600. I'm 200. She's 600. Look
like
at me.
zoo.
I look great.
It's like on the zoo.
a human safari.
Yeah, it's a human safari. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's like when you look at somebody like that, like where do you begin with her to be like, how do we turn this around?
Dude, I was watching a little bit of that show.
Hold on,
She wouldn't even go pick up her own fucking Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, that's a really tough part of the population. Like we've worked with a few individually. I know between the three of us as trainers, like have worked with clients that have been morbidly obese like that. And it is a different process. It's something that the right way to do it, which you see this a lot on Biggest Loser and a lot of these TV shows where it's all about drama and they're trying to like hustle their way to get this weight off. But the statistics behind that, terrible in terms of like how they're able to keep going on and sustaining that type of activity that they had just ramped all the way up and cut their calories way down too. So, you know, we found that in terms of changing overall behavior, just one thing at a time of focusing on, you know, introducing more whole foods, for instance, and just really just trying to implement that first. So it starts to slowly change their palate of like what they crave. And this is a gradual process where it sounds counterintuitive because you don't want to add more food, but what it actually does is it starts to change, you know, their body starts to receive the nutrients and starts to crave it more. And now we can kind of naturally adjust, you know, how they choose food in their diet. And then getting light movement and activity is going to go a lot further than trying to, you know, have them do some kind of HIIT workout where they're doing battle ropes and they're, you know, doing really high intensity type of training where, you know, they're going to get all this joint pain. They're obviously they feel like they're being punished. Okay. So there's this other part of it too, that I think is a massive problem with the health and fitness industry is It's just this big thing. Like, you look fucking disgusting and you need to change. And that's literally the message. Like every commercial you see to get in the gym is promoting. And really, once you start to kind of twist that around and focus on it as being something that's going to help me feel good about myself, and I'm doing healthy choices and making good decisions for me, and it's benefiting me, you have a completely different mindset. And it's something that, will actually last a lot longer, and you can build off of it. So if you don't set yourself up to keep building upon that, you're going to inevitably hit a wall, and it's all going to kind of crumble back, and you're going to see this yo-yo dieting. You're going to see they're going to stop going to the gym. It's just sort of the snowball effect of, well, I've had enough. I have enough torturing myself. Like, you can only take so much torture if that's how you perceive it.
But that's when you finally decided to lose weight, because here in LA, being fat's glorified.
Well,
I mean, look at
that was
Lizzo.
what I
Yeah.
was going to ask. Like, we are now seeing fat campaigns. I should change that, because I, dude, you know how I know I'm fat? It's because I've gone to a couple people and go, yeah, my doctor said I'm fat, and they're like,
Oh, you mean they weren't like, oh no, that's crazy.
yeah, none of that. None of that. None of that.
You should get no one said you should get a second opinion.
No, it's like, dude, you're not bad. No, everyone's like, and I'm like, okay, dude, I get it. And it's like so interesting.
I mean, he is a doctor.
Yeah,
My medical opinion.
yeah. Well, it's also that, like, I wonder if I was a woman, would he say that to me? Would he be like, you're fat? And if I went to
Did he say it that way? Or did
he goes, yeah, you're fat.
he said that.
Yeah.
How old is this dude?
That's great.
He's
Is
like,
he older?
but he busts my balls. That's
Okay,
his job.
yeah.
But then I went to other people and was like, yeah, my doctor said I'm fat. And they're like,
It's the same one that put the two fingers in.
yeah, the same guy.
After or before?
Figuring my,
Did he tell you after or
my
before?
God hole is suddenly telling me I'm a fat ass.
Was it before or after he fingered?
He was in there.
It was before.
Oh, he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he didn't.
See, I'm torn on this, because I really believe that some people would live longer lives if someone in their life took a tough love approach with them and said, you're going to live longer if you lose weight. But there are also maybe just as many people that will spiral if you talk to them that way, and it may just make things worse. And I don't know what the answer is there.
I don't know what the answer is. I think it's like I think you have to learn that everybody has to be dealt with differently. That's the key of being a great coach, right? Is
I'll
like
say
you
therapy.
can't.
My answer to that.
What's that?
Yeah. I say therapy. Usually in that instance, you get that big. A lot of times it's from something traumatic that happened, in that person's life, or, some kind of like self-afflicting condition where, they're coping with something, with food, and that's sort of that's their drug in a sense. And so it really is going to take that constant accountability and therapy and like working your way through to find out what the root of it all is. For any kind of real change to occur. So that's why, that would be like the first thing that we usually recommend, somebody in that sort of category of morbid obesity is like, please go find yourself a therapist and start at least the conversation of that alongside moving and get some kind of nutritionist involved and all those things. But really the therapy, in my opinion, because
That's so funny, dude.
I'll be honest, like, okay, so we talk to the everyday average people. That's our focus. We're not talking to athletes. We're not talking to bodybuilders or, we definitely bring up subjects in that direction, but for the most part, we're just trying to talk to your everyday average person. And so, in terms of that, it's all about human behavior. And so if there's ways that we can provide little hacks and little ideas that will actually steer their behavior completely in a different direction just by moving the needle just a little bit, I think has much greater impact for the overall outcome.
Not to get too dark, but I was on my other podcast, Conspiracy Social Club, and Brian's been really grinding me on what I eat. And he goes, "What'd you have for breakfast?"
Who's ahead right now? Is it Brian or you?
In terms of what, like winning the argument or being in shape? I'm up about 108 to 2, I think about. I mean, I think if you were going to actually take a
Sounds about
score,
right.
and a couple of them, I throw the fight. I just have to throw the fight, you know.
Just to keep him from quitting the show.
Yeah. No, he loves Joe, and I love him, and you know the people have spoken. But the point is, he goes, "What'd you eat today?" Right? And I go, "A muffin," and he laughed at me.
Yeah,
he goes, "Why'd you eat a muffin?" I go, "Well, because it makes me forget about Larry Watts molesting me," right? And which was a joke. I mean, it's true, but it's a joke. But that is something about that you eat to forget. You eat to feel good. It is like, why do you do drugs? Why do you drink?
But
Why
he
do you...
also drills you on having a banana.
Yeah, are bananas bad, dude?
No. See, again, this is all like it's not necessarily good, bad. It's how, like, where does that stack up in terms of like your overall amount of sugar that you're consuming for the day? So it's really it's about the overall. Plus, not to mention, it does at least have, you know, some fiber nutrients in there. But yeah, it is high in the glycemic chart, if that's what he's referring to.
Like a lot of people tell you now, like, remember back in the day, smoothies were good for you? In the 90s, smoothie's good for you, dude. It's fruit, smoothie, hit it
Jamba
all day.
juice. Yeah.
Now, that's fucking sugar. That's diabetes
It
up
is
the
pure
ass.
sugar, though. If you think about how many apples or grapefruits or whatever you have to squeeze to make a thing of, you know, just a normal, like, you know, 12 ounces or whatever, it's obscene.
I used to think Snapple was healthy because it had apple in it. I'm like, oh, that's healthy. Has apple in the title, right? It's got to be.
I thought those were healthy. back in the day.
So, which is very interesting that you brought up like people dealing with the therapy of it, because, you know, I'm sure as somebody who works in health and fitness, you've had to notice like the kind of push to like market to fat people, or I shouldn't say overweight people. Excuse me, man. I mean, I'm being honest, like in this sense of what we're talking about right here.
Dude, you finally got the pass to say what you want because you're a member. You know what I'm saying?
No,
It's
I
like,
get that. I'm like the world's tallest midget, right? I'm king of the midgets.
And have you seen articles where men are fat and then women are overweight? They don't give a fuck about men. They'll call men fat, obese. Look at him. And women, she's overweight. She
No fat shaming men.
Yeah,
That's
they
not
don't
a
give
thing.
a fuck about men being fat.
100% fat shaming is only for men.
Yeah.
No, for women. You can light guys up.
Oh.
And it's unbelievable how everyone's okay with that.
It's
Right?
funny. It's funny. It's on comedy. Like, look at the fat guy.
Yeah.
We roast our friends all the time about it. I mean, I'm the guy on the show. I'm the fat guy, you know, so that's where I'm at. I'm like 2 bodybuilder, you know, physiques. And it's just like inevitably, like if I'm not like super shredded, I'm fat. So that's sort of where we're at in that direction. But yeah, like
You're the chunky monkey of your group.
that's me, man. Yeah. I'm the fluffy one, you know?
But are you concerned about this promotion to the, and you know, when I hear this a lot, and I kind of understand that there's, I don't understand, but I feel for them when they're like, you know, people saying that fat is unhealthy is like fat shaming and it's gross and it needs to stop. And they like start organizations to try to change this. And I'm like, or you could take all that effort into working out. It could be like one or the other. You could do one or the other. You could start an organization that won't get you anywhere, or you could take all that determination into going to the gym.
Imagine if Lizzo wouldn't have sang,
Go on.
and instead she would have worked out.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, to your point, I think that, you know, initially all this started with good intention. So I think that you know, loving yourself is a big part of that, right? And that it sort of started that direction with like healthy at any size. I think that's what the movement was sort of called initially in the beginning. But now we're starting to move away from reality, and this is where it's really tough, because now we have to be the assholes that are like, hey, wait a minute, like this does matter. Like, you know, carrying a lot of body fat around your body, it's hormone sensitive. It affects you in a negative way. You're more prone to disease. There's lots of these health markers that have been around for a reason. We can't just ignore that and pretend that you're healthy because it makes you feel good. And that's just where we're at is we just want to make sure everybody's feeling good. And you could, and again, this ties in now to the conspiracy side of the world, where it's like, why are we changing all these definitions? Why are we changing these words just to make people feel good about it?
because there's been a concerted effort to try to convince us what is up is really down, and that's been done purposefully so that we don't find out how special we truly are, right? And that can go with, obviously, there are people who have chemical issues when it comes to mental health that they need to get help. But so much of what we're taught right now is like, if you're feeling bad, go to the doctor and get, a pill. So, and I do, like, I've done therapy. I'm not, and I hit recovery meetings, which are a form of therapy, which is talking about your problems and getting some feedback on them about where you are. I have no problems with that. What I do have a real problem with is this movement to not make, like I say this all the time, like a big problem for my recovery is that I wanted change without making change. And the old saying is insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So that's kind of where we are. So people, I think we're way more special than people know. And sometimes the universe is telling you stuff when you're depressed, you're sad, you're angry, you're all that stuff. That's the universe sending you a sign. Hey, dude, this isn't what you're doing is not your course in life. You have to go this other way, and it sends you messages through sadness, depression, anger, and all that stuff. But in our modern society, that is seen as like this horrible, awful thing that you have to do your best to completely get rid of. And I just don't think that is healthy or possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I see it everywhere. Like, it's just everything is changing definition. And it's interesting too. Like, we haven't even talked about, like, you guys had mentioned about how the sizes and the heights and everything being different in the population too. But as of late, all of our testosterone levels have been affected as men, like, quite substantially. And it's not just because we're not moving more. It's not just because we're probably not eating right, but there's lots of other factors and phthalates and things in the environment that are actually affecting, the actual hormone balance that we have. And low testosterone is actually more prevalent than it's ever been. And even in younger boys, in their 20s, have erectile dysfunction, have, low testosterone. And so there's just like way more factors out there than just, change. I got to just work out more and I got to adjust my diet. You're fighting a lot more things in the environment, even that are making their way into your body through chemicals and through plastics and, everything else that you're putting on your body. Your skin is another organ that you need to consider as well in terms of, putting different types of soaps and different types of shampoos and sunscreen and all these types of things affect you in a negative way if these types of chemicals are in there, promoting that. So it's crazy. There's a lot more things out there now today to consider, I think, than previously. It just felt a lot more simple growing up when I was trying to get after it.
But is that the key? Is to going back to simple? I think there's this whole thing about being on the cutting edge for everything all the time. Like, the metaverse is coming. I would love to know what somebody in your industry thinks about what the metaverse means to your industry and to people in general. Because I go, I've just met you. We're having this conversation. I think you're an alpha, dude, based on like you're working out and all that stuff. You have alpha traits, right? So would somebody like you're shredded. I can't see your neck. You got no neck, bro. You're just fucking, you're swole, bro. You're killing it, right?
Keep going, dude. Yeah, keep going.
Keep going, bro. But like, why would somebody like you want to exist in the metaverse? Like, why would you want to take away all of your advantages to go into a metaverse where someone, like, for lack of a better term, considered a beta would have all the same advantages you have? It seems like it's disastrous to me.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy. I have no interest unless there's like a serious business angle in terms of like getting some real estate in there and profiteering off of it. But in terms of I see a massive problem with people being plugged in and that being all consuming. So, how do you actually interact in the metaverse? Well, you got to sit down, you got to put on these goggles, and how long are you going to be in there? You're not going to be getting sunlight, which affects you in a negative way. You're not going to be getting activity. You're not, a lot of times you'll probably be skipping meals. You're not properly hydrating yourself. And you're literally portraying yourself in this virtual environment, and you're getting all these, it's just, to me, it's like super weird. I haven't even considered that we'd be at this place. It was all science fiction to me for a long time. And it's like, now we're seeing almost like it's Minority Report is now kind of coming to fruition. I just found out today that, robots are able to duplicate themselves. And there's just some weird shit going on, but the metaverse, we are trying to discuss our way through this right now on the podcast. This is like one of these topics that I can't even wrap my head around where this is going to go. But I think there's going to be a clear divide is my sort of thoughts around it. Is there's going to be people that are going to be plugged in at some point, and then people that just completely abandon where we're going as a society in terms of, this social network, this virtual reality. I look at it, it's fun. Like, I've played video games where I've been fully immersed in, Roblox and all these kinds of games for my kids. They love it. But I have real concerns about them being in there too long, or even and just neglecting all the rest of real world experiences, and being able to be in nature and exercise and enjoy life as a real person, contributing to the world. So yeah, I have lots of concerns about it. Let's put it that way.
There's a world record of this kid playing 145 hours straight of Call of Duty.
Is he the greatest?
That's emerged. He's beat the world record. I looked
People
it
die
up.
that way too.
Yeah.
People die sitting, get blood clots and shit from because they don't move.
I also hear that like Japan's got a real problem. Is it Japan or Korea has a real
addiction.
problem with like guys just don't give a shit about chicks. They're like, I'm crushing it in Call of Duty, bro. Why do I want to stop for you? And they're having a giant issue with reproduction, man. And robots making love, dude. I mean, like, what do you think robot sex sounds like? Dubstep?
Yeah.
It's like a diesel engine.
We have brothels now with sex robots. That's what I heard.
That's what you heard out there.
They told me that.
No, yeah. I'm with you on that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff also to get into. I also want to talk about, I think, like, I mean, people talk about restaurants, people talk about, comedy clubs, whatever. But I think there's two businesses that have been really affected by COVID, and that is the physical fitness industry, trainers, and dominatrix have obviously been affected. It's very hard to dominate someone 6 feet away, right? It's just not the same. But COVID, what are your thoughts on the whole situation with that? I mean, everything they've told us to do is the exact opposite of what people in the medical community have been trying to, like the independent voices, which is get sun, eat right, exercise, do all that. And theirs was like all the advice was the complete opposite.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. I really don't pull my hair out all the time, because we just aren't getting good information on how to be more resilient and be empowered by making good decisions nutritionally, being healthy and active. That plays a massive role in being able to stave off disease and be able to recover, especially once, you do contract something like COVID. So, it's been super frustrating. And they've actually, there's studies that actually prove that within the gym setting alone, like it was just not, it wasn't the sort of spread like they had anticipated, because, the initial fear was that, people would be wiping their bacteria and sneezing and getting all this kind of residue everywhere in the gym. And the thing is, it's more of a self-selection bias where healthy people all gravitate to one place. It's less likely that somebody's going to come to the gym sick. And so like that wasn't really considered. And for the most part, there's a lot of gym owners that I've talked to that had no no COVID outbreaks, and they were just doing just fine, but they had to shut everything down and try to figure this out. And it's just been detrimental to public health, and they've just done a piss poor job of promoting healthy practices and giving people real answers, except for just one nail, one hammer. This is your only option. And we're just completely sick of it and threw our hands up. And so that's why we have the podcast too. I mean, we're just trying to make sure that there's at least a voice out there that is promoting other ways to protect yourself and stay healthy and remain healthy for the long haul. And, there's, again, just resistance training. You wouldn't think it, but it's the most protective way. If you build muscle, it's got the most protective qualities to it, to protect your vital organs, to also build up your immune system and just stave off all kinds of morbidities and diseases that come your way.
Okay, here's the question. How come women do fun workouts and men always have to do painful shit? Like, guys are always like, watch me lift this fucking brick. And then women are like, okay, we got daiquiris, let's do step class, right? And they just have fun. And it's
because men are trying to gain mass, I would assume, and women are want to stay lean aerobic.
See, these are more misconceptions. So it's just kind of funny. And we dive into some of those myths that women should train differently from men. And this is all marketing. So it's playing into, women have this innate fear that they're going to get bulky by lifting heavy. And that would be a miracle if they looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger just by doing deadlifts.
Those chicks probably have dicks, by the way, if they're going to bulk up fucking.
You said it. I didn't say it.
Everything said by Sam is from Sam, by the way. Just so you know. People are like, Sam, we know it's you. I'm like, the reason I'm saying that is so you don't think that's the opinion of the guest, which is staring at me in shock as I say this stuff, okay? Not just you, over and over again. So that's what I mean by that. That's the opinion of Sam, not necessarily of the guest. And the joke is well written. But yeah, I think there's a misconception that girls that they think they're just gonna get next thing you know, they're gonna look like fucking Mr. Olympics.
Although there is very much a CrossFit bod that I've started to notice. Women who do that, they get a little boxy, I guess you could say.
So here's the thing about that too. So that's also sort of a self-selection thing. If you're good at something and you have a propensity to doing well, say deadlift, say snatch, a lot of these complicated lifts, you tend to have a certain type of body type to begin with that you're going to build upon. And so you see this because you get a lot of pictures, you get a lot of videos, you see CrossFit athletes, in the spotlight more often. And so, they already genetically have sort of this predisposition to being, to looking that way. And they're just kind of enhancing and building upon that. So your average woman, really doesn't have that much testosterone to produce, a type of a bulky physique that they think is just going to happen. And really beyond that in terms of hormones, but also the amount of calories you're consuming. I mean, you got, and also just to be on all these other excess hormones and steroids. And, there's just been some controversy with SARMs, with CrossFit athletes as well. So, there's steroids that are rampant in the CrossFit community and athletes as well that, some have been busted and some have, claimed that there's a hilarious one where, one of those CrossFit athlete girls actually claimed that she didn't know, her boyfriend was applying cream and she didn't know. And it was, steroid cream. And so she got busted for that. But yeah, so it's again, for the most part, your average female, really is just going to get exactly what she wants, a lean tone type of physique if she just trains heavy and eats appropriately.
Are the concerns about steroids, performance enhancers, and all that stuff? Is it from a health place or a competition place? And is there misconceptions about steroids and stuff, and PDs and whatever it's called?
Yeah. I mean, I come from an athletic background, so I shared a bit of the stigma around, anabolic steroids, because I didn't want to cheat necessarily. And it was something that was definitely frowned upon. But as I'm aging and realizing too, and getting my hormones tested, you find out if, if you're low testosterone, testosterone plays a vital role. It's a big health indicator. If everything's going right, you're going to be nice and balanced with your hormones. And so, there's detrimental effects to having low testosterone. And so I do see medical usage for it and benefit to it if it's applied at like hormone replacement therapy type doses. When you start getting into excess amount of doses, you can get pretty extreme when you go to competitive bodybuilding. And so, those guys, but it's hard to sort of parse that out in terms of like what's the one that's actually like causing them the most health issues, because they're doing crazy stuff, with insulin and all kinds of other like types of hormones that they're injecting, and they're trying to build the most ridiculous physique possible. So and plus, the amount of stress and the type of intensity that they're applying in their workouts is like unparalleled to most other people. So you have to kind of tease all that stuff out. But for the most part, actually, testosterone, if used appropriately, is pretty healthy for you if you can balance your levels out.
Do you think there should be like an all drugs league where it's like you have to flunk a drug test to be able to compete, and if you don't, you can you're banned for like 6 games or something like that? If you, it just
Dude,
like
I'm in. Yeah, I would love that. Like it's almost like so Pride. I believe.
yeah.
Back in the day,
How
right?
great were those fights? Those guys. You ever see old
Amazing.
Vanderlei Silva? Dude, I mean, we're talking
Houston
steroids
Vanderlei?
and
Oh.
tweaking.
Or baseball.
Yeah,
Baseball!
exactly. The home run race where
Yep.
McGuire and
Barry Bonds.
baseball's never been as exciting. So yeah, there's definitely something to that. I mean, it's again, we're as consumers, like we want to see a freak show. And so like in terms of entertainment and selling tickets, like it would just be smart to have sort of an open league like that. And it would just be like, it's the athlete's risk. I mean, they're risking their bodies every day on all kinds of different levels anyways. So I honestly, my opinion's changed a lot over the years. It's just really, for me, it's like stuff like that. I just kind of put barriers around kids. But other than that, like if you're an adult, hey man, it's totally up to you.
My favorite part, because I'm old and apparently fat. I remember when there was a giant movement led by John McCain to stop steroids because they're worried about the kids doing steroids, and now like 2021, it's like, let's give them all hormones.
Remember the
right?
after school specials, dude, where like the teenager like wrestler would come home and like slap his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, oh god.
and now it's like, let's put them all on hormone therapy and completely and utterly fuck with their body chemistry.
Unbelievable.
And and I've said this before. Again, this is Sam speaking. Is like, every time I watch the television, there is a pharmaceutical ad, and half the ad is the side effects, and 90% of them is suicidal thoughts. Mm-hmm. Right, and we're talking for simple things. Your heart, or your like anything we're thinking about.
Bleeding for some reason.
Right. Your depression, whatever.
But they look happy though, Sam.
Yeah, but the point that I'm trying to make here is like, the big thing about trans that everybody's talking about is how half of them, they have such a high suicide rate. Well, I'm like, well, how many of them are on hormone therapy? That you can't tell me that hormone therapy doesn't have the same fucking side effects as a drug that you fight depression with. I mean, it's just the truth. And you don't, I brought up the people who are, and I have trans friends. I want them to live their life, but this notion that like, the reason that this is all happening to them is because they're not accepted in society. I don't agree with that. I think it's that you're messing with your biological chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, imagine if they had a commercial for a trans pill. What it would say after, if taken.
I don't know. Welcome to XG's business ideas. But your thoughts on that, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I would put a lot of boundaries and parameters around, especially like with youth, and in introducing any kind of exogenous hormones. It's super invasive, and like you said, it does, change your biological makeup, and sometimes it's irreversible, if it's introduced too early. And so, and I have heard of examples, of depression and that being, an issue. That's obviously, it's not something that's talked about a lot because there's a movement completely in the direction of applauding it and making sure, everything is in that direction. But yeah, again, with kids, we got to be careful. We got to protect kids from, a lot of ideas and propaganda out there that are just, like, let's wait till they're adults. There's a reason why a lot of other things, we have to wait till we were 16 before we got a license. We had to wait till we're 21 to get, alcohol. And there's just seems to be this, it's just strange that this isn't something to be considered that, might have long lasting effects that maybe, they didn't want because they were so young that they didn't really form into their ideas yet of what they actually wanted to be. And so I have no problem, obviously, with, if you identify something else, you want to get procedure
Live your life.
Live your life, but that's going to come from you, your decision, not from somebody influencing you at an impressionable age where, your brain hasn't completely formed and be able to make those decisions, cognitively. So I do have reserves about that for sure.
I have a lot of reserves. I wish people would protect their children. But, dumb people can have kids too. And there's not much you could do about it, right? And it's just like everybody's on their own path. Everybody's on their own journey. And if you're not one of those people that had, your parents pushing you into Hollywood and to be a child star, or, people going around so proud of their trans child, which, to each their own. If your kid's trans, it's great. Celebrate them, protect them. I don't think there's enough of them in the world to warrant completely changing how we raise children. And I got to ask something. And this isn't even about trans. This is about kids in general. Do you think we're putting out better quality people since we started changing the way we raised children? Do you think that? Do you think the people are better? I don't know. I'm not saying they're not. I have 2 children. I'm doing my best to love them the best I can. And I'm an old school dad, dude. I'm not going to change my ways. I'm going to love them, but I'm going to be stern and I'm going to be a disciplinarian, even if I know they don't like it. And that is so hard to do. When you know that your kid is angry at you, it is heartbreaking. But you also know this is the best you got to do, right?
Yeah, it's important. I mean, you need to set them up for life. You need to set them up for dealing with failure, dealing with hardship. And to just let them have everything they want and make sure they're always feeling good and happy, doesn't prepare them for anything, doesn't help them become strong. And so this is where we kind of relate it back to the sort of fitness lessons that we learned. And a lot of times too, it's just in the gym, we learn, we're going to keep doing reps because we get stronger. And we're gonna do all these things, and we're gonna go through hard workouts. We're gonna go through hardship to be, to make it out on the other side. And so, for me as a parent too, I have 2 boys. I'm consciously.
How old are your kids?
So 11 and 8.
Okay. Yeah, I have
and
2.
My 11-year-old right now, he's in middle school, and so which is to me, I'm not really stoked on because he's in 6th grade. And so I went to junior high when I was in 7th grade, and I feel like there's like a massive leap once you go into 7th, 8th grade, where these kids are starting to be introduced to drugs and ideas.
It's scary.
And they're kind of rebelling against their parents, their teachers, and so anyway, so there's a lot of that starting to kind of move its way in, and we're having a lot of discussions about it continuously. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is always communication. Like I wasn't able to talk about a lot of these things, sex, drugs, any of those things with my parents. I want to make sure that, that's something that I always have, accessibility to with my kids, especially now, because all these ideas they're just getting bombarded with it, either from their peers or even their teachers now, which is really frustrating.
But wait up. You were saying for making better kids. I think in a weird way we are. They're just going, it's just that we're in the real world. Like they want climate change. All lives matter. I think these kids do have a good mentality, as in they're nice people. I don't think they're assholes. They want all the homeless not to be homeless. But that's not the real world that we're in, where it's not just baby, the whole world as in like.
It's just weird. XG, because you are right in a way.
These kids are good people.
A lot
These kids are
more
good people.
open-minded.
Yeah.
You know, you go to the mall. I'm so old, I still go to the mall. That's like a sign of an old person, by the way. Going to the mall. I can't believe that. I used to love the mall as a kid.
Hell no.
Now these kids are like, I'm in the metaverse. Fuck the mall, right? But you go to the mall and when you do see kids there, it's super multicultural. Like that part worked. Like
calling someone a weirdo is bad now. My little nephews were playing around and I was like, why are you being weird? And they looked at me like I said, you're a little fucker. You're not allowed to call them weird. They're so sensitive, which I think is good. But it's not good. No, but they have a good heart. It's not that it's good. You said, do they have a good heart? I think they do have a good heart. The kids have a good heart. It's just, dude, we're in the real world. Go to Africa. Like, stop acting like this all.
So it's like, it's this weird thing. Like, you know, Bill Burr's bit about Donald Sterling, how his grandparents were like yelling at Indians, get off his lawn. Like, he's just from like super caveman shit to like this super overly sensitive
come live with
thing.
me.
You know, it's like it's a little bit of both, right? It's a little bit of both. You know, you talk about your sons going into, it's like, I said this, I mean, like, I love my children. I wish a million failures on them before they get to whatever that thing that they really want. And it's going to be so hard to watch. Yeah. It's going to be so hard to watch.
Because every kid is like their own little celebrity now. And think about how fucked up child celebrities are, you know, because they get everything when they're young.
Right. But they're
you're doing that
like,
to your kids.
Hey, man, I came in 5th. Look at my cool trophy.
They're all
I'm
being
like,
spoiled from
what's going to happen at that moment? I don't think I'm going to let them have the 5th place trophy.
I'll throw it away.
Yeah, I mean, it's like second, third, okay, not the best, but hey, but fourth.
Dude, I remember getting plenty of second place trophies for baseball and stuff, and we would just break them over our knees and throw them in the trash.
Yeah,
dude.
They're garbage.
Because The Rock was really popular, and this guy that loved to quote The Rock went, "The Rock says this trophy's too damn small." Just broke it over his knee. Lamont McIntyre, shout out.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like this weird kind of thing. Like I know people that I talk to, that older men that brag about never changing a diaper. They're like, I never change a diaper. And like, now that I've been through that with my daughters, I'm like, I feel bad for them because there is a spiritual connection that happens. I'm telling you, you won't understand it till you do it.
Okay.
You weren't supposed to be there when she was giving labor.
Yeah.
Fuck changing a diaper. You weren't supposed to be there during labor. Now you're a piece of shit if you're not.
I'm telling you guys, changing your kid's diaper is like, this is a bond because
both 1 and 2, is there one that bonds you to the child more? Is it? I mean, it's
two bonds
really
more.
two
bonds more.
Okay,
2 bonds more, bro. To me, it bonds more, dude, because they need you. Because if you don't change your diaper after a certain time, they start crying.
I get a rash,
right? Yeah. So if you don't change their diaper, they need you to change their diaper. And that's a spiritual moment. And sometimes they don't want you to. And it becomes this bit where it's like, hey man, I know what's best for you. You gotta listen to me. I'm telling you, dude, because I was like, man, I don't want to change these girls' diapers. Come on. And then you're like, okay, man, do you want me? And then it just becomes a parent thing. I can't explain it other than you'll know it when you do it.
Well, I get you. It's like a trust thing. Like you're there for them, supporting them, and it's like you might not think they remember things like that, but you do have like sort of that shared bond if you are involved like that. And so it's more about just being involved with a lot of those little things. That it sort of builds that trust between the two of you.
I completely agree with that, dude. And it's just this thing about raising your kids and being as hand-on as you can be with helping them make these decisions. And it's like the mom, I love her. She's always like, when the kids are throwing fits, she's like, I know it's frustrating. And I'm like, oh, look who's the best actress ever. Oh, look who's going to win an award for acting. Oh my God. Yay goes Tripoli. You're the best, And I understand that could be, but it's got to be like, I know what you're doing, dog. Like my kids, when they start doing drugs, I feel for them because Dad knows when people are on drugs because he used to do all the drugs. I'm like, I know what you're doing. Like we got to work this out. And like I watch Dope Sick and like it scares me so much that is out there because you can get real lost in that. And it's like, it's like kind of what you were talking about going to therapy. You're like, why are you numbing out right now? What are you doing to numb out? Why are you numbing out? What are you not dealing with right now? Let's deal with this so you don't do it, because heroin is basically Russian roulette. It's literally Russian roulette. Every time you do it, that might be your last time doing anything. And if you put yourself in that position consistently, it's just a matter of fucking time. And that's why it makes me sad. So I want to wrap it up with this, Justin, and thank you for coming on the show.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm always like, I have a podcast called Zero. It's a spiritual podcast, and it's always about how can we take what's going on in your life and you can deal with it, right? Like, where do we start if someone's kind of super lost in life and they're not happy with what kind of shape they're in? They're overextended with work. They're working all the time, because it's very easy to get into that. And then it's very easy to get an app that says like 7 minutes, work out for 7 minutes and you'll be super shredded. You're like, I got 7 minutes, and you do it for 3 weeks. You're like, I'm not even getting close to shredded. I'm giving up on this. And it's like, Rogan talked a lot. I posted this thing about Rogan because Rogan was like, yeah, I could suck my own dick if I wanted to. And I'm like, you know what, dude? That's discipline to me. Like, that guy is a meat square. And the fact that he is fucking flexible enough to go to town on himself, that's discipline for me. And there's so many people who don't have discipline in their life. And it's like, especially when you watch sports, you get to the highest level, everybody's athletic. It's like, what's the difference between you and the next guy? And it's like discipline. Do you put in the time? Do you put in the work? Are you pushing through the pain? Like, because that is the difference. Like, are you going to do what it takes to win? So what are your thoughts on, like, if people listening today, I'm sure they love this episode. Where do they start?
Well, I think the first thing really is to be as honest as possible with yourself. And to figure out what is that one thing that you can implement, that you can consistently implement going forward. So something that you can introduce that's not going to be too daunting. It's not something that I need to schedule in and, work its way into the schedule, something that'll easily fit in there. That I can duplicate that as many times as possible, going into, indefinitely into the future. I think we overcomplicate things all the time. And we think that we have to take everything on at once. And to be completely honest with that, with yourself, and recognize if I can show up to the gym 1 day a week, at least start to understand and learn, how I need to move better, maybe hire a coach, or maybe just, follow a program and just start addressing some of these things slowly, and see if I can now do that same thing next week. And so then I can build upon that from there. You're going to have a lot higher chance of success. I think that for the most part, people they look at it as this big, huge, daunting thing, and it's almost, if you look at it as a whole, it looks impossible. You need to make very small goals that are achievable. You got to give yourself some wins, and a good way to do that too is so one example would be, if I eat, I want to make sure that I walk for, I don't know how long, just around your block after you get something to eat. This helps with your digestion. This helps get you some sunlight. This helps get you some exercise, some fresh air, and that's just something that is now ritual. It's something that I can do, like at lunch, I just go and I do that one thing, and then that builds momentum. Now it starts to change your hormones. It starts to, have this snowball effect that I feel good. So now I want to do more. Now I want to take more on, and I'm going to add another day a week. And I want to get more involved in resistance training. I want to learn about that. So I'm going to get this program, and I'm going to start working my way through that. And, just making healthier, better habits, it takes gradual time. So, don't be nice to yourself, I guess it would be my message. Like, be honest, be nice, and, make sure it's something that's really achievable. And it really doesn't matter where you're at right now. It's just what you can do immediately, because consistency trumps all the rest of the variables, all the rest of, how hard you're going in the gym, You know, like all those things, like everything else considered, it's going to work out. It's going to balance the way out. So that would be my best advice, is to just try to simplify it and try to take actions, you know, one small step at a time.
I think it's also important to find a workout that you love to do. I think people think it's one workout works for everybody. And, you know, it's like, I love jujitsu, but man, it just went on forever because I wasn't flexible. I wasn't enjoying it. But man, Krav Maga is just something I just love to do. And it like the hour goes like that. That's what you got to do, man. What is it, the workout you love? Maybe it's boxing. Maybe you love boxing. Find a boxing instructor who will hold pads for you and teach you how to throw to get your fucking cardio up, okay? What are your thoughts on yoga?
Yeah, yoga is great. Again, this is another sort of restorative type of modality. It's great for, I think it helps to combat stress. So anything you can introduce in your life that's going to kind of combat stress, especially today, because everybody's holding on to it so hard, and it's causing a lot of like mental issues with people. Like movement in general is going to help to really alleviate a lot of that. But yeah, yoga is great. It's a great discipline, and you do burn calories. You do. You know, get some muscle benefit to that as well. But for the most part, it's the best part about it is like a yin yoga where you're really de-stressing and, you know, you're getting that parasympathetic state. So any chance you can find out there, like you said, activity in general. So find something like you really love to do, but, you know, find ways to incorporate it more frequently. So it's about being able to do something that you're going to have longevity with.
You were talking about macronutrients, proteins, and fats. Guessing you are cool with the keto diet since you run on fats, or is that just a typical LA fab where it's like, nah?
Yeah, so I mean, there's benefit to it medically, and there's lots of benefits to, you know, if you're doing it as kind of an elimination diet in a sense, but in terms of a long-term diet, it's very limiting in terms of the options for that. So back to the human behavior side of it, a lot of times we've found people go on these types of diets that are really restrictive. There's not a whole lot of options out there fat-wise to consume, and even keto especially, because you think that, you know, having steaks and having butter and all these types of things, like, well, the steak itself, like, we already are tipping the point of too much protein, which then converts, you know, to sugar eventually that your body's going to use as glucose. So you have to consider the fact that it's really limiting. And so how long are you running it, and what are you running it for? So there's benefit and value to it. And if you have certain conditions where, you know, you don't do well at all with carbohydrates, you know, obviously that's going to be a great, you know, answer for you. But a lot of these diets, even vegan diet and, you know, carnivore diet, like I could, you know, tell you what the benefits are to some of those, but a lot of times, you know, because they're restrictive, you're going to end up in a place where, you know, your body, you know, might be lacking and deficient in certain other areas, you know, nutrient wise, that you didn't consider. So to me, it's about flexibility, and it's about, you know, being able to kind of have purpose with it. So if I'm running a keto diet and I'm trying to lower my inflammation because I'm really inflamed, or I am trying to stay kind of low calorie and be sharper, because, you know, I'm running more in a ketogenic state. It does have good properties for that. So I think it's all on how it's applied versus like just the popularity of it to lose weight and try and get a six pack.
All right, vegan. Are you okay with vegan, or what do you think? Vegan, vegetarian, carnivore. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, very similar to that. Like, so we've talked to many vegans, and, you know, you saw Game Changers come out and lots of these documentaries on Netflix, which we roll our eyes at because it's total cherry picking data that, you know, is interesting to me. Like, why you would want to eliminate the most bioavailable food out there, you know, from animals. And it's very nutrient dense. Your body already receives it well, but you're trying to argue that it's not good for you. So that one leaves me kind of, you know, miffed, but I honestly, I don't have problems if it's if it's something that is a bit of a, like you're concerned with animal cruelty or, you know, that's sort of your angle with it. I empathize with that, but in terms of it being beneficially, you know, a health type of a diet for you, like there's some challenges I would propose with that, because it's very hard. It's very hard to maintain adequate amounts of protein in that diet. I know there's ways to supplement that, but those are all new answers. And this is a totally new diet. And because if you're just living off of a vegan diet back in the day, you're not going to last very long. I mean, you guys have watched Naked and Afraid, right?
Well, and that's because they couldn't find meat.
They couldn't find meat.
Yeah, I don't think any fucking caveman was like, I'm not eating that because it was fucking inhumane.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck.
I think I know there's some people who enjoy being vegan. Our friend Johnny Betancourt, Johnny too, he enjoys it and he finds ways to get his protein and stuff like that. I think it comes down to what is your personal preference, and if you're doing too much of one thing.
Listening to him and Off the Grid Ryan talk about their
they both have
vegetarianism,
huge hards on.
And but it's just they have to bend over backwards.
Or they just vegan whacking off, making eye contact with each other.
Yeah, in the green room with the 500th. But dude, it's so they have to bend over backward to get the nutrients they need, you know. And they're talking about all these elaborate recipes, and like he's saying, it just doesn't seem practical in the long run, you know. I mean, you have to do so much. And I will say, keto, at least now. Well, because of the profit incentive, you are seeing more products that are like pre-made, ready-made, but a lot of that shit is, you know, is junk.
Like candy bars and
junk.
muffins and
junk
brownies
food.
and
right.
But is that really?
No, it's junk food, man.
Yeah, it's just junk food. So,
and none of this shit is cheap. Whole Foods and fucking eating vegan,
so funny,
it's
bro.
not cheap. You got to go out of your way to be healthy.
Yeah, and like shit food's like $1.
Yeah,
I used to have a joke about that. They used to have like dollar fish sandwiches at Wendy's. I'm like, what fish are you selling for $1? You go to a pet store, goldfish are $1.50.
That's so funny.
Right? It's like, what are you selling for $1, dog?
That's so funny.
Well, Justin, thank you again for coming on. It was a wonderful conversation. Hope people got a lot from it, man. And it's just like, you know, I'm just going to say this, man. So much of what you need in your life, you already have inside you. You have an instinct. You got to listen to it. And just because it gets bumpy, like flights, man, every flight gets bumpy. But 99% of the flights, 99.9% of flights, they land. They always land, man. So it's like your life is going to get a little rough and a little, you know, you got to have this immigrant mentality, what Joey Diaz says, which is like, you got to work your fucking ass off. If you're tired, big deal, man. Figure it out, dude. Find a time to work out. Because you know what, man? If you find out a workout you really like, it's not a pain in the ass, and you're thankful for it, man. I'm so thankful for the 2 times I go to Krav Maga every week. It's like my favorite fucking thing to do because I get a little time to work on myself. Figure it out. Justin, one more time, where can they find you? Name of your podcast and where they can find you.
Yeah, we're Mind Pump. You can follow me at Mind Pump Justin on Instagram. I'm on there. That's basically the only one I'm on. But that or like anything mindpumpfree.com. We like to put a lot of free information out there, and ebooks and whatnot, and just kind of help you on your health fitness journey and get you started. So just go find me there, go listen to the podcast, and I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having me on.
It was a wonderful conversation. I had a great time, and I appreciate you dealing with our lowbrow jokes. You know, thank you for slumming with us, brother. Thank you for slumming with us. I appreciate you. You're a G. It was a great conversation, and it was perfect. I need to hear it because I got to make some big changes in my life because apparently I'm fat. I love you guys very much. I hope I can see you guys in San Diego this weekend. I'm in Tampa Bay next weekend, and then just added Buffalo. Oh, January 28th. The 2 big shows at Harvell's in Long Beach. Love you guys very much. Have a great weekend.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.